The usual suspects for this show definitely include the Biden Autopen. That is one of the favorite topics around here. And there's more that is coming out with this because back in June, President Trump ordered the White House to go let's look into all the top officials and see what's going on about Joe Biden and his mental fitness. And he wanted to make sure that the investigators really zoomed in on the use of the Autopen. And this investigation now is going through and we're looking now at exactly what is going on. So, of course, we know, right? Biden, not all there mentally, has 5 different signatures for the Autopen. Our friends over at the Oversight Project, Mike Howell comes on a lot. They went through and just started printing out all of the signatures from the Autopen, and they started laying them in 5 different piles on their desks. And they're like, wait a minute, we have something here. Well, now it looks like when you go through, you can see that, wait, is this going to be Kamala Harris? Is she the one that's actually behind all of this? So there are so many different things that we have to look at. But when it all comes down to it, we still haven't gotten to the bottom of this.
Yeah. So say more about the Harris thing. I mean, this is something that not everyone knows about.
Well, when
Kamala is actually behind, she was a faction behind the different parts that it's kind of like one of those old 80s cartoons where all the different pieces come together and they form like the big.
Well, it's strange. He outsourced the authority to Kamala Harris and said that the vice president's authority suffices, which is not true. It's not constitutional. His office recommended to him, as Jill just mentioned, that anything that actually specifically requires a presidential action, not an action by the executive, is something that he ought to be signing himself by hand. And it cannot be outsourced. And he ignored that. And the precedent that they cited was every president, every single president. And he just ignored it. And Kamala Harris, it's not like she was in the inner circle. There's no real idea that she was actually the ringleader of this. It was just, he was unfit to be president by this time.
Everyone had a piece.
Everyone had to have a piece. And it was basically asking someone it's like telling your wife, can you load the car? I've got a broken leg. I can't pack the car. It's not the ideal. It's not like it's a lot of different work. And he just decided that she was going to be able to do it for him. And it's coming out more and more and more. We now have the lawyer's advice, we have the office's advice, we have the memos, we have the emails, that everyone around the president knew this was wrong and told him so repeatedly, knew that they were doing something that was probably over the line, beyond the pale, as they say, that this was something that could be legally challenged. Because that's the only reason that they would worry, is that it could actually be undermined later. So during this time, there's 4 meetings that are held, I think, to brief
December
the president.
into January, yeah.
And there's no indication he attended a single one of them. So you go through who was getting pardoned at this time. The now senator from California, Adam Schiff, the entire J6 community, the Biden crime family. Sorry, the boomer term. The Biden crime family and the Democrats.
The demon rats in the Biden crime family.
The Fauci. These are the people who are being pardoned at this time preemptively for things that, we didn't commit any crimes, but for those crimes that we did commit, you could not prosecute us. It's like little kids saying, nose game, we're safe.
Yeah, exactly.
But then Trump comes in like the older brother who ignores it and still gives you a little punch to the arm. And this stuff is going to have to be tested because the most valuable evidence in any kind of a case is contemporaneous evidence. It's stuff that happened in the time. So you can say all you want on the stand, he didn't do it, it was somebody in a red suit. But if you have a text message or an email or some recording of you having said that at the time, it matters so much more. All of this is stacking up. The problem they're going to have is where they're going to be able to try this, where they're going to be able to test this. Because if they try to test it in Washington, D.C., Joe Biden could have killed someone on Independence Avenue, and a grand jury would not indict him. It's kind of shocking what we've been seeing out of D.C. So they're going to have to find out the trial case, as we've talked about, where they just bring charges against someone who's very guilty and test this pardon idea. And all of this stuff that's coming out right now is going to be in the pile of evidence. And by the way, I don't know, we could probably pull up a picture of this, but the president talking about how in the Rose Garden or the Rose Garden Club, he's going to put as Joe Biden's portrait a picture of the Autopen is just perfect.
Well, and Joe Biden, we remember we
show.
covered that this summer, right? It was July, I believe, that he went out and had that 10-minute interview with the New York Times. So it must have been a good day for Joe. They probably, propped him up on whatever they needed to do the injections with. And he's like, okay, we're mentally clear today. Now you can talk to the New York Times.
Dr. Hunter took care of him.
Yeah, they had a lot going on that day, I'm sure. But he was adamant that every decision that he made, I made every single one of those decisions. I was mentally with it. I could go through. You guys, we know how this works now, right? Joe Biden is going to a very friendly New York Times who will write everything that he is going to tell them. And they will use that as the evidence for what will be, what is going to be challenged later.
The thing about Joe Biden is, right, he's just a bad guy. I mean, remember, he's a very petty, bad guy. This is a family that couldn't make the tens of millions that, the Obamas did. And we're taking small change relatively from China and other places. You know what I mean? It's like small time petty. So the Autopen scandal is one of those things that it's not even like a grand conspiracy. It's just sort of pathetic and stupid. And and
potentially
deadly
with no actual veracity. I mean, Joe Biden pardoned over 4,000 people in his 4 years. Most of them after the Democrats lost the election.
Yeah, exactly.
That's more than FDR did in 12 years. I think that's more than Obama did in 8 years.
Yeah,
that's certainly more than Donald Trump did. No one's above the law except for everyone I know.
Yes. And that's what I mean. It's like small time crook by comparison. But that's why it's the pettiness is what makes it so bad. And so, he's historic numbers of pardons for cronies, and the whole thing is pathetic. But I mean,
and whole classes of crime.
The one important thing here is that Donald Trump, the president himself, is adamant about the Autopen thing, as you point out. Like, that hilarious wants to do the picture. So because Trump is on it, there's a good chance that DOJ, that's why they're moving forward. And there's a good chance they do test this out, and there's a good chance that maybe something actually happens. And Howell and the oversight people have prepared a path there and been encouraging it. But the president, Donald Trump, knows that this is a winning issue and wants to pursue it. And as long as he keeps pushing, there's a chance that some justice might actually occur. I don't know.
Well, and that it's almost kind of concerning the way that we talk about what Donald Trump is pushing, because we see it with Steve Baker and the J6 News Select Subcommittee, right? And Donald Trump had been pushing for that for months, and things are just slow going. Chris, it's your town. It's a slow moving process. But even though the president can come out and say something, that doesn't mean that we're going to see something happen within the next few months. These things take a long time in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, and if to match point too, the fact that he's on it and is saying on it is excellent, because one of the big mistakes of his first term was sending out tweets and thinking that those, or even just executive orders, and thinking that meant it was going to happen. And his cabinet secretaries would just say, okay, and that was it. There'd be no follow-up. There'd be no anything. Things do take time. I mean, just look at these last couple of weeks for RFK, who we'll get to in a later segment, how after 3 months in office, people are like, why haven't you solved autism? Now, hold on a second, guys. There's a lot to do. And that's honestly taking your time and lining up your sights before you squeeze that trigger is essential, because you don't get that many shots. You cannot be sloppy. These guys are professionals. Despite the fact that the president at the end, over the advice of everyone around him, was incredibly sloppy and all of this, just drooling, and he's spilling the milk out of his cereal. The Democrats are not sloppy. The town is on their side. Everyone, even the Republicans who live here, a lot of them are on the Democrat side. We saw that from Mitch McConnell yesterday in his latest tweets, that the country under Donald Trump is the biggest threat we've had since the 1930s. The darkness of the storm. The Republicans are on the Democrat side, and which they'll say it's just norms, but the norm for them is losing and getting beaten and not holding anyone accountable. That's the norm that they're defending. And the Democrats, of course, and wow, look at this.
They knew. They're coming
They're
after
coming
you.
after you.
Maybe I should turn off my alarms before we film. Should I do that?
It's a good idea. But you know, Chris, the uniparty, they're going to uniparty. That is what's happening here in this town. They don't care. It's just a way of life. And the loser mindset has infiltrated the Republicans' heads, and they have to come through and have Donald Trump actually literally just go through and come in like a bull in a china shop. And that's the way that things are actually going to change here in Washington, D.C.